So today we are going to discuss reported speech. Okay, reported speech means very important thing. We should know the kinds of sentences. Like how many kinds of sentences are there, my dear? Four kinds. Okay. Very first one alone we have a different word, like okay, even we can call that as assertive or a interrogative or a imperative, and then exclamatory. No. What is the very first one? Assertive, affirmative, declarative or statement. Okay. So assertive, interrogative, imperative, exclamative is a kinds of sentences. For assertive we can name that as a even as a statement or even as a affirmative, even we can call that as a statement. Okay, declarative. So hereby you should understand that assertive means the sentence must consist with the information. The sentence must consist with the information. Okay. So hereby you should know that information means the sentence starts with the subject and then the verb will be there. Next to the verb we can find out any other object or complement or adjunct will be there. Okay. But most importantly you should know about it, which means assertive means it's all about the information. And the next to the interrogative. Interrogative means you should remember one thing. It's all about what, my dear? Questioning thing. Okay, it's all about a questionary. Questionary means you should remember either the question may be like a WH or S not type question. For example, what is your name? When will you come here? Will you come here? Okay, when did you come here? Did you come here? That's what the difference. Okay. So hereby you should know that interrogative means the sentence consists with WH and even with the S1 type question. And the next to that, imperative sentence. Imperative sentence means all four category comes under, even it may be a request or command or order or advice. Okay, or a advice. So most importantly the sentence starts only with the main verb. Okay, like open the door. Okay, close the door. Okay, negative means here we will have a word like don't open the door, don't close the door, please give your pen. Okay, so the imperative sentence mostly starts only with the main verb. And the next most important thing, exclamative sentences that we don't have in our board, but anyway we should learn about that. Okay, exclamative means it expresses either the happy or sad. Okay, happy or else the sad, that's it. Okay, so happy means we know what, okay, how the sentence used to express. Okay, and then sad, even the sad tone also, the tone itself we have to understand that is belongs to exclamatory. And then most importantly the sentence must have what it is, my dear? Exclamatory mark. Definitely it should consist with the exclamatory mark. Okay, so this what you should remember there when you are going to discuss about, when we are going to discuss about the kinds of sentences. Okay. And the next to that we should remember what is direct, what is indirect sentence. What is direct and then what is indirect sentence. Direct sentence means the sentence. Sentence means you should consider that even it may be assertive or interrogative or imperative or exclamative for all the four sentences. Okay. The sentence may be conveyed by the first person to the second person. Indirect, same sentence. Here I have written what it is, my dear? Same sentences, right? Say yes or no. So here we have written, just a minute. Yes, listen here. Here we have denoted what it is, my dear? Same sentences. Assertive means it's going to be assertive. Interrogative means it's going to be a interrogative. Okay, same sentence, we are not supposed to change any meaning there. But in indirect speech we will convey that second person to the third person. Sometimes what happens, it happens between the third person to the fourth person. Do you understand? Okay, so this what you should remember there in a direct and then the indirect sentence. Okay, direct means what, my dear? The sentence conveyed by the first person to the second person. Indirect means you should remember it, same sentence, second person to the third person. Sometimes it happens between the third to the fourth. Okay. So next most important changes. What are the 5 most important changes, my dear? reporting verb, and then conjunction. Wait a minute. Yes, reporting verb, conjunction, pronoun, tenses, and then distance verb. Okay. So hereby already we know what these are the 5 different subheadings that we have to learn and that we have to change it. Very first, what we have? Reporting verb. Okay. So reporting verb means we should know about it. Already we know that. There we have a present form and then the past form. Present form and then the past form. Next to that, okay, second we have to denote that conjunction and punctuation means you should remember it. We are going to remove the punctuation and then we are going to add the conjunction. We are going to remove and then we are going to add the conjunction. The third most important thing, we should add the pronoun. Okay. And then fourth one, tenses. Okay. So very base of the tenses I have written, we are going to change the present to past from direct to indirect. Say yes or no, my dear. Indirect to indirect. But what happened there? We have an addition to that. Even in direct itself, they can ask you past. So then, what we have to do it in indirect? That also we are going to discuss. But the very base we want to remember that direct to indirect means we are going to change one step back. That's it. One step back. This you have to remember it. Okay. And then next most important thing, last one. What is the last one, my dear? Distance word. So hereby you should remember it. Distance word also depends upon the tenses. Distance word also depends upon the tenses. Why? Because there we have written there, okay, present means we have to change into past. In distance word, here we have denoted there. What it is? Now. Okay, we should change into then. So here we have an example, right? So here the example was given there, okay, Ram said to Naveen, I am free now. So you have to identify which one is the reporting verb, my dear. Said to is the reporting verb. This is the very first rule. And then second rule, here alone we want to remove the punctuation and then we should add the conjunction. Third, what it is? The pronoun, right? Say yes or no, we have to change the pronoun. And then fourth rule is the tenses. And then fifth rule is the distance word. So these are the 5 changes that we are going to learn by today. Do you understand? Okay. So very first rule, what it is? Reporting verb. Second one, conjunction. Yes. Tenses. Yes. Very good. Okay. So when you are adding the conjunction, you should remember one thing there. We are going to change. We are going to remove the punctuation. Okay. And the next most important thing, reporting verb. Okay. For assertive alone, we have differentiated like said to and says. But remaining interrogative and even for next one, imperative and exclamative, we have divided like past form and then the present form. Okay, very simple. Hereby you should remember it. Why we have assigned like said to and says to means, hereby you should remember it. Yes. So hereby you should remember that there we have written like a 2 forms, said to and then says to. Okay, but end of the day you should remember that said and said to, says and says to, it is belongs to a past form and then the present form. Which is belongs to past form, my dear? Said to and said. It is belongs to a past form of the reporting verb. And then what about the present form of reporting verb? Says to and then says. Here we have a word, said to means you should change it into told. You can remember the keyword to and then D. With the help of that you can, why? Because in exam you will be getting to the confusion. Said to means on the day what sir said, whether it is a told or tells, you will be getting to the confusion. Okay. So with the question itself we can get the clue word like anymore, which means we will be changing like, okay, what we are going to change, my dear? The to and then D. You remember. Okay. Okay, we are going to change into told. And the next, what we are going to change, my dear? Says to. Says to should be changed into tells. But here, for this past form of said to and then present form of says, there is no change at all. We should write the same. What was there in the question, you should write the same. And the next to that, okay, for interrogative, there I have mentioned like, okay, past form and then the present form, right? Say yes or no, my dear? Past form and then the present form. What is the past form of reporting verb? Even they can give you what it is, said to or said. We can write it, what it is, my dear, asked. And then present form, says to or says means we should write ask. Okay. So there you have to remember the past form and then present form. So this is a very set of rule, but we have a free forms also, not only in interrogative, even in assertive also, we can write it in a free form. Like here we have written said to, that we have written in told, right, says, no, my dear. There you can write it even answered, replied, like anymore. Even in interrogative sentence also, like free form, instead of asked, you can write questioned. Okay, for example, the policeman said to the stranger, who are you, means there you can write the answer, policeman asked the stranger, policeman questioned the stranger, that also will be right. But the exact point of reporting verb we have to denote like policeman enquired the stranger. Okay, that may be the right one. So if you are a beginner like anymore, just you can proceed with the very basic thing. Said to means you can write it what it is, my dear, asked. Okay, said, asked, says to, ask, and then ask. Okay, and the next most important thing for imperative sentence, okay, same format. Okay, said to and then said means there we have to write it instead of request. Since it is a past form, you should write it what it is, my dear, yes, since it is a past form, we have to write it in a requested, or even what we have to write it, commanded or ordered or advised. If it is a present form, what we have to do with, my dear, request, command, order or advise, okay. And then same here we have to follow it for the exclamatory sentence also. Okay, for a past form, said to or said means you should write it what it is, exclaimed, or else says to or says means we should write it exclaim alone. Okay, this what you should do it in your, which means reporting verb, in the reporting verb. Second, we are going to discuss about the conjunctions. Okay, why? Because we have a different kinds of sentences like right from assertive, interrogative, right from imperative, and then even exclamatory. Okay, we have a different conjunctions. Okay, so we should denote that first, because sometimes what happen, even though we know the conjunctions, but unknowingly what we will do, we will write the assertive conjunction in the interrogative sentences. We will use the interrogative conjunctions in the assertive. So that point we have to be very clear, because the evaluator easily they will point out the mistake what you have committed there. Okay, that is going to be the next one. So here we are going to discuss about the conjunction, which means the very first what we have to do, but read that we should remove the comma and then the quotation. Okay, we should remove that first, and then in addition to that we are going to use the conjunction. Okay, in addition means we are going to remove and then we have to add the conjunction. For assertive, what sort of conjunction we have to do it, my dear? What sort of conjunction we want to write it? What it is? That. Okay, and the next to that, interrogative means we know what it is, WH and then S1 type question. For WH what it is, there is no conjunction, but for S1 type question what conjunction we have, my dear? If or whether. So in that discussion we will find out why we don't have a conjunction for WH and then why we have a conjunction for S1 type question alone. That we will discuss separately when we are discussing the interrogative sentences. And the next to that, for imperative sentence we know that to and then not to. So positive means we have to go ahead with to. Open the door, to open the door. Don't open the door, not to open the door. Open the window, to open the window. Don't open the window, not to open the window. That's what we are going to discuss. Okay, and the next exclamatory sentence, you can easily remember that this conjunction already is there in a assertive, because in direct to indirect you will change the exclamatory sentence into a assertive format, which means right from the subject verb. Do you understand? Okay, that's what we have a same conjunction for, even for assertive and then the exclamatory sentences. Okay, so next most important thing we are going to discuss about the pronouns. Okay, so pronoun means you can remember that, so the first person pronouns alone will be there in direct. Okay, right from I, we, my, our, okay. So everything you have to change it into the, according to the speaker, that is the most important thing. You have to find out the speaker, even the speaker may be a first person or else a second person. For example, Ram said to Prem means second person. Ram said to me means first person. The speaker itself involved, right, says the listener itself involved. So that you have to understand, okay. So right from some clarity I have given there for an example, like I means you should change it into he or she, but the reporting person is very important, okay. And then you, there you should remember that as of course he or she will be there, but sometimes the subject like I will be there, right. Okay, the subject like I will be there. For example, Ram said to Prem, what are you doing means Ram said to Prem, what? There we have to change it you into he. But Ram said to me, what are you doing means the you should change it into I. So that difference we will discuss in the example, even I have assigned there, okay. So not to worry about it, just remember it, you means yes of course we have to change into he or she, but according to the listener we have to change, sometimes the you should be changed into I, okay. And the next, your or my, you have to change into his or her, okay. And then we means you should change it into they. So that you have to remember carefully there. But sometimes what happen, the third person of pronoun will be there in a sentence itself. He or she, direct itself they have mentioned means not to change in the indirect form. Do you understand? I am listening means there you have to write it in indirect form. He, I comes as a he. But direct itself they have given he is listening means not to change that. Do you understand? Okay. So definitely that may be the same. Okay. And the next we are going to discuss about, first we have completed the reporting verb, second conjunction, third pronoun, and then fourth one tenses. We are going to discuss the tenses. So before discussing the tenses we should remember it. Okay, there you should remember the universal truth, habitual action, and then scientific facts. In order to what we should add the, what it is my dear? Yes, very good. Present form of reporting verb. Present form of reporting verb. Can you exemplify something that what are the present form of reporting verbs are there? Very simple. What are they? Says to or says. When the present form of reporting verb comes, we are not supposed to change the tenses. Along with this, universal truth, habitual action, and then scientific facts. Okay. But to the next, okay, remaining to this, we should change the tenses. In what are the cases we should change the tenses? Like if the question there in a simple present means, you should change it into simple past. If the question is there in a present continuous means, we should change it into past continuous. If direct itself they have given like present perfect means, in indirect you should change the sentence into past perfect. If they have given like simple past means, you should change it into past perfect. And the last layer, even they can give you in past perfect, there is no change, it should be remain same, past perfect alone. Okay. So can you remember that? What are the cases we should not change the tenses, my dear? Universal truth, habitual action, and then scientific facts. Okay. And the next most important thing, present form of reporting verb. Okay. And then apart from that, we have to change the tenses, in which means the present means we should change it into past, one step back, like, okay. So simple present, simple past, present continuous, past continuous, present perfect, simple past, past perfect even. Okay. And the next to that, okay, here we have that detail which means auxiliary for. Here I have given like simple present and present continuous alone. Remaining things we know what, that we can easily write it. Simple present, the be form verbs. What are they, my dear? Am, is, or, do, does, has, or have. In past form, be form verb, was, were, did, had. Okay. And then main verb we know that we will change the present form into past form. And then present continuous means we know that am, is, or, verb plus ing will be there in a sentence. We will change into past continuous, which means the was or were, verb plus ing. So next to that, you should remember that modal auxiliaries, particularly for future sentences. Okay, we should change the present form into past form, present form of modal into past form. Like for example, like, okay, So will means we should change it into would. Shall means should. Can means could. May, might. And then must, had to. So hereby you should remember it. Must means, okay, we have to change into had to. That is a very peculiar thing. Even sometimes what happen, without changing itself, we can write the answer. Must, we can replace it with the same model, must. But try to know about it, we should change into had to. Just apply that, okay. So will means we should change it into would, can, shall, may, and then must, had to. So this is going to be the very last one, which means a distance word, okay. So it is very relevant to the time and place. So time means we know that definitely it will be relevant to the tenses even, right. Says or now, it's a timing, right. Just know what is happening. So we have to change it in indirect form. What it is, my dear? Then. The now means what we have to do, but then, okay. And the next, this comes as a that. Ago means before. And then here, there. And then tomorrow, the following day. The most common mistake the students will do there, okay. Following day they will write without writing this article. Okay, so what we should write it? The following day, the next day, then the previous day, the day before. Okay, for what purpose we have to change tomorrow or yesterday? For yesterday only we should change it into the previous day or the day before. And the next week or next month means we should write it what it is, my dear. Following month, okay, following month or the following week, okay. Same like that, if they have given like today, that day, this we will change into that, right. So today means we should change it into that day, okay. Same like that, okay, tonight should be changed into that night, okay. So short sum up like anymore. So very first what we have discussed, reporting verb, so assertive. Said to means we should change it into told. Says to, tells. Said and says, no change. Interrogative, said to or said means asked. Says to or says, asked. So what we have considered as the past form of reporting verb, my dear? Said to or said. Present form of reporting verb, says to or says. The next to that we have denoted like imperative sentence, right? Okay, requested, commanded, ordered or advised will be there for your past form of reporting verb. Present form of reporting verb without ed, without past form, request, command, order or advice. Same we will follow for exclamative sentence also, exclaimed or exclaimed. And then conjunction, what sort of conjunction we have to do with? That. Assertive, the conjunction is that. And then for interrogative, WH, there is no conjunction. And then S1 type question, we have a conjunction. What it is, my dear? If or whether. And then imperative sentence, to or not to. Why we have a two different conjunction there? Positive and then negative. And then exclamatory sentence is that. Because we will change the exclamatory format of sentence into a assertive format. And the next most important thing, we have a pronoun. Next most important thing, we have a pronoun. Like I, he or she. You should be changed into he or she, sometimes even I. And then your or my, his or her. Your name, his name or her name. Your father, my pen, his pen or her pen. Okay. And then we means it should be changed into they. Okay. And the next most important thing, the tenses. Okay. We are not supposed to change the tenses for universal truth, habitual action, scientific facts. Like a simple, apart from that, reporter, which means a present form of reporting verb also, right? We are not supposed to change the tenses. Apart from that, we have to change the tenses like present to past, present continuous to present perfect to and then simple past to past perfect, and then past perfect will be remain same, past perfect. And even we have discussed, right, one fine day we have discussed like we should change the past continuous to past perfect continuous. Okay. And the next, okay, here we have auxiliary that you can do see that later. And the next we have a models, present form of model into a past form. The peculiar is last one. What it is, my dear? Must means we should change it into had to. The last one, the distance word. Okay, now, then, this, that, ago, before, here, there. And then tomorrow, yesterday, and the next week, next month, even today, tonight, that night. Okay, this what you should remember. Okay, so reported speech means this 5 kinds of, which means 4 kinds of sentences, and the next most important thing, 5 different changes. Yes, here we have. These are the 5. This you have to remember. Okay, whenever the question was given, you should underline that. Okay, what is the reporting verb, and then where we have to add the conjunction, and then what sort of pronoun we have to apply there, and then tense, what sort of tense this is in a question. Okay, present means, then you have to think by twice, you have to think which tense you want to apply there, and then even distance word. Then only you have to apply the answer when we are in a beginner like anymore. Do you understand? Okay, so directly by seeing the question, if you write the answer, some way will lead into the mistake. So very first prepare in your mind itself, you prepare the answer, then apply. Okay, so next class we will get into the sentences. Assertive sentence means what we have to do. Okay, like interrogative, what we have to do, that we get into the next one. Okay, so this what